Hello everybody, I'm Chris Segrell, principal of Christ the King School. I'm here with Amy Becker, who is the assistant principal, and it's the 15th of June, and every 2 weeks we're going to kind of get with you and just give you an idea of where we are in the process of figuring out what we're going to do next year to start the school year. So we're just going to kind of give you really an idea of where we are at this point in time. We've been working really hard coming up with different scenarios, different plans. We think we're pretty sure what might happen, but things could change. So just please keep that in mind. Just to kind of go over some of the different scenarios that we've been looking at. The first scenario is, we've got 5 of them total actually. And the first one is just normal startup, just like we do every year. We don't see that happening. We're very hopeful that we could maybe wake up one day and this will all be a dream and we could start up normal, but reality, we know that's probably not going to be the case. The second scenario, or the next few scenarios, involve in-person school. And this is exactly where we think we're going to be. We're going to be able to start school, we're going to have kids in the building, teachers in the building in some capacity, but we might have certain restrictions. So the first scenario in that regard with the in-person schooling that we're preparing for is if they were to say you can go back to school, but you can only have 50% of the occupants in the building at any given time. We don't think this is very likely, but we want to plan for this, and in that case, if we had to do that, we'd have to alternate days. There's just no way around that. We'd have to alternate days somehow. And we have two options for this, and we're going to ask for your help on this. We're sending out a survey in a few days, and we'd like you to take that survey. One of the questions is about this, and there are other questions as well. But if we had to do this kind of thing with 50% of the kids in the building at any given time, one option is that we operate our elementary school on one day and our middle school on the other day, and we just keep alternating that. Another option is that we have school every day for the entire number of grade levels, but we group families together. So your family, all your kids in your family would go on this day, and this day, and other families on opposite days. We'd balance out the numbers that way. And that's what one of the questions for the survey is: what works better for you guys as families, as Christ the King families? We can really go either way, but we want to see what you think. So when you get that survey, please look for that question and please give us your preference. And in deciding this, if we ever had to go this way, that's what we're going to go on, is what do our families want? And because we want to make this as easy as possible for you. Having said that though, we think it's very unlikely that we're going to get to a scenario like that. Another scenario we're planning on is if we can have 75% of our building capacity. That also equates to 10 students in a classroom or less. So we're prepared for both of those because they both kind of run together. And if something like that happens, we run into a scenario like that, we will operate the elementary school, which would be preschool through grade 4. They would come in every day. We would have them come in. The middle school would alternate. That's essentially what would happen. There's a little more details than that I'm not going to share with you today because we'd be here for a long time, but that's essentially what it is. We feel it's very important to open the elementary, that the elementary kids are here as much as possible, every day if possible, so that's why our plan kind of reflects that. Elementary comes in, middle school alternates. And if middle school is alternating, they're having in-school one day, but they're also doing remote learning on the other day at home, or assignments related to the day before at home. So it's all productive time. It's not that they're not going to do anything on that day off. They definitely will be actively involved in learning on that day off. So that scenario is a possibility as well. The next one that involves in-person school is one that we think is most likely, and that's if they say 20 students in a classroom or less. And that would be, we consider that 100% building capacity. 20 students in a classroom or less is about what we normally do. So we would just do some minor tweaks to our schedules. So, we would make sure we had 20 in a class or less. We have some very creative ways to do that with technology now, with all the kids in the building. So we're kind of gearing up for that as a very strong possibility at this time. I also want to just remind everybody that things could change in the next couple of months, and we don't know for sure. But this is what we're thinking now based on everything that we're hearing, everything that we're seeing, all the different meetings, Zoom conferences that Mrs. Becker and I are involved with the governor, with the commissioner of education, with other superintendents and principals. This is kind of what we feel is a very likely possibility at this time. The other scenario that none of us really want to do would be remote learning. We're also gearing up and preparing for that too. It's going to be very different than what we did in the fourth quarter. I want to thank our remote learning planning team. We've met a couple of times. We've really had some really good discussions on expectations, criteria, what went well, what didn't go well, what could we change, what do we want to do if we went to remote learning going forward this school year. And we think we have a lot of really good things hammered out and in place so that it's a lot easier on you guys as families, on your kids. Just the resources that we use and the platforms and the apps, there's limitations. We're not using all kinds of things. We're trying to pare that down so it makes sense and it's easy for you at home. Also, we're looking at iPads and technology. There are families that don't have all the things they need. So we have iPads in the school. If we went to remote learning, we would loan iPads out that would have all the apps, all the platforms, everything that you need on them, that makes it so much easier, and that's one of the big things that we're looking at too. Going back to the survey that's going to be going out in a few days, there's a question on that. We want to know, would you need something like this? Or how many would you need? Or what would you need? So anyway, again, look for that survey. And then, no matter what scenario we actually go with, if we're in school with kids, we're going to be doing something that we call blended learning. And that is, we're going to have classroom instruction going on, but at the same time, we're going to have some remote learning type of things going on, but they're going to go on right in the school. The reason for this is so that our kids can get used to doing it, our teachers get used to doing it, we check all the technology, so if we do have to remote learn at some point during the school year, we know how to do it. We know how it works. We know the resources work. We know the resources are there for everyone to use. And it just makes it a lot easier and smoother. So remote learning is going to really kind of happen throughout the school year in the school and maybe a little outside of the school too. But it'll make it that much easier for us to do it if we need to go there. So all those things are going to be going on in the school. And excuse me for having notes. There's a little package here that I'm referring to that we've been putting together. It explains in a lot greater detail a lot of the things I've been talking about today. We are also going to be sending this out as well, so you can take a look at it. Hopefully it'll answer a lot of your questions. Please know that we're just basing everything we're doing on the information we have right now. And your first instinct might be to email us and ask us questions. We might not have answers to a lot of those questions, but as things become clear, we're going to communicate this more and more to you as we know exactly what's going to happen so that you know what's going to happen as well. Also, there's a few exciting things that we're going to be doing in the school when we do have the kids here, because we know as part of this blended learning that we're going to be doing, there are going to be times where students are out of school. Maybe somebody is having to self-quarantine at home. Maybe someone's just ill for a period of time. We don't know. Maybe a teacher's out. But through this blended learning, it's going to enable students that are at home to actually see what's going on in the classroom. We've ordered a number of devices, and they're called swivel devices, and they allow our teachers to set them up in the classroom, and it actually tracks the teacher's movement in the classroom so we can record the lessons that are going on. So if the teacher is up at the front of the room, You see the teacher there. If the teacher's moving around the room, the swivel is tracking that teacher and following that teacher. So it's almost like the student is kind of there. They're able to see everything. For students that are out of school for illness, or if you as a parent feel at any time during the year that it's just safer to keep your child at home, they can still participate in all the lessons this way by watching them at the end of the school day. The teachers would record these lessons and then they would push it out to absent students at the end of the day. So the lag time would not be very much, and it would still be as close to being at school as possible. So that's something that we're looking at doing. So just to accommodate different factors that might be out there. If a teacher is out for a period of time, our teachers are going to be able to teach from home. We're going to be able to do that and actually pipe that into the school, into a classroom, so that the kids are still seeing their teacher and still getting the normal lessons that they would if they were in school. So there's a lot of kind of cool things that we're really trying to plan for. We're trying to really look at all the different possibilities that could happen, and really there aren't that many that could happen, so we've got them into these different scenarios. And once we find out, and I'm sure it's probably going to be sometime in July, what we actually go to or what we're required to go to by the state, by the commissioner, by the health department, we will communicate that to you right away so that you do know. But having prepared for these different scenarios should make it a lot easier for us to just roll right into that at the time. And like I said, we might go from scenario to scenario during the school year depending on what happens. I don't want to scare anybody. We think we have this pretty well handled. We think we can really have some good things happening, and as normal as we can get everything to be happening in the school, that's what we're looking for. So once again, there's going to be an email that goes out here in the next couple of days that'll have all the details of what I just kind of described. It'll also have a survey, and we're going to ask you certain questions as far as your preferences with that 50% model, just so we have your input before we finalize anything on that, and also about the loaner iPads. Also, we're going to be really looking for volunteers to help us with certain things in the school, depending on what scenario we go to. So we're also asking on the survey, would you be available to assist in the school at certain times as a volunteer? We could sure use the help. For one of the scenarios in particular, it really is dependent on volunteers. So if we couldn't get the volunteers, we couldn't even do that scenario. We'd have to go to something a lot more conservative. So we're really hopeful that we can get some help from folks out there to make this happen. Also, there's been a lot of questions that I've received about masks. Are we going to have to wear masks? Well, we don't know. I mean, we don't want to do that if we don't have to, and we certainly won't unless we are mandated to do that. And even if we have to wear masks, if the health department requires us to do that, it might be only at certain times during the day and not during the classroom time when the kids are learning and they're in their smaller groups. So we just don't know those answers right now. So you might hear a lot of districts kind of making announcements on this or that, the other thing. We really can't do that yet because we just don't know, and until we know, we can't really plan for sure on it. We're getting ready for all different possibilities, but we will let you know. Also, temperature checks, where we're going to have to do temperature checks when kids come into the building. We're preparing for it, but we don't know if we're going to need to do that. Also, recess. Are the kids going to be able to do recess? Yes, we're going to do recess. If we have kids in the building, we're going to do recess. We're going to get them outside. It may look a little bit different than what it did before because we had to kind of keep them a little further apart. But the social aspect of being in school is very important. We feel that. Every teacher is like that, agrees with that. You do too. We're not going to lose that. Even if we have to have some distancing going on, we still have some strong relationships that we build here in the school, and we're not going to get away from that. We are a Catholic community and a very strong Catholic community, and we're going to do everything we can to preserve that, to keep that going. And in some respects, we're going to find other opportunities that we didn't even realize that we had, that we might do things a little different, but they may open doors in different ways. So we're going to be okay. And we're really encouraged by all the different things as we lay these out. We're excited about getting the kids back in school because we miss you. We want to get everybody back in the building. And just before I close, I just want to reiterate that the most likely thing that we're seeing right now is almost a normal operation here in school. We might have to do some checks, some screening, distancing, but we really see more than likely we're going to get everybody back in the building, but we don't know for sure, and we have other scenarios just in case we had to back off from that and do things a little bit different. So we will be prepared. We're getting ready for whatever might come. We will communicate that to you as soon as we know anything. So look for an email that comes out that has this report with more detail, and please participate in that survey. We definitely value your opinion. We need your opinion. And I know all of us working together, we will make this work, and this will be an unusual school year for sure, but it's going to be something we look back on and we say, you know, it turned out all right. And Christ the King is a very strong school and has a strong community, and that's just not going to change. So please hang in there. Know that you might have a lot of questions, and we don't have all the answers, but as we get them, as we develop everything, we will communicate that to you so you do know what's going on. And at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Becker. I've talked probably way longer than I wanted to, and I do apologize for that. Just a lot of information to share with you. Please be safe. Be careful out there, especially over the summer. We want everyone to be safe and to come back all ready to go. And God bless, and we do miss you very much.
Hi everybody. So I'm here today with Mr. Segrell in kind of the heart of the school. So if you're a K through 8 student and you're watching this right now, raise your hand if the library is one of your favorite places. I love our library, and I'm really excited about being here and getting to see some little folks in here and checking out books and talking about books again. So this is a fun place to record from today. I have a couple of resources to share with you. One I found searching for something for my 5th graders to get ready for 6th grade. It's called education.com. So nice and easy. It is only available or helpful for kids grades K through 5, but the 5th grade is to prepare for 6th grade. And you can select your grade, your subject, and then if you want a game or if you want a lesson. I found it really user-friendly. You have to sign up for an account, but it was free, and there was a lot of variety. So education.com I think was a great one. WideOpenSchool.com is another one that I just recently found. It looks a little bit like our Symbaloo page. So when you go there, you're going to see all kinds of little tabs that you can click on, and you can adjust for grade and subject. Most of the time when you click on one of their little icons, it takes you outside of Wide Open School to maybe pbs.org. What I liked about Wide Open School is that it was vetted and recommended by Common Sense Media. And I know a lot of our families use Common Sense Media to evaluate appropriateness of websites and content for their families. So I loved that everything that was on Wide Open School, I know Common Sense Media has checked. So there were a lot of options, from videos to playing games to making projects, for all the subject areas and all the grade levels. The last resource is a little bit selfish, and dads, at some point I'll try to work you in here, but CatholicFaithFamily.com is a wonderful resource. It has Bible sharing, it has prayer ideas, it has religion lessons, which is great for the whole family. But there's a link on their homepage to the Catholic Mom blog. And I ran across it on accident, kind of looking at the site from a family perspective, and man, did I love it. So all of you moms who are out there working really hard to be a mom of faith, and a friend, a person, a daughter, and raise your children strong in the faith, this blog had stories and ideas and just kind of opportunities to read about the fact that there are women all over the world that are trying to raise wonderful, strong Catholic kids, and sharing our ideas and pooling our resources is kind of the way to go. So if you don't look at anything else, moms, and I'm sorry, dads, go check out that Catholic Moms blog. I really loved it. So those are my resources for you. I look forward to talking with you again in a couple of weeks. And more in seeing you, I hope, very, very soon. We miss you terribly. We're in the heart of the school, but we don't have any of our little heartbeats around us, and we can't wait till those are back. Enjoy your days. Get outside. God bless everybody.